Imagine a place where the world's greatest rivals, nations with centuries of competition, alliances, even conflict, shake hands every single day, not on Earth, but floating more than 250 miles above its surface. Welcome to the International Space Station, humanity's most ambitious and expensive science laboratory, circling our planet at a dizzying speed of nearly 5 miles every single second. It is here, in this shimmering outpost, that the future of space, and perhaps the destiny of humanity, is being decided. As new countries rush to join the mission, and private companies gaze upward with dreams of profit and discovery, a question grows more urgent than ever before. Who truly owns the future of outer space? The story of the International Space Station is much more than a saga of epic rocket launches and breathtaking views of our blue world. It is a tale of improbable alliances, of barriers broken and rebuilt, of scientific breakthroughs that have changed the way we live. It is also a stage for international drama, and at times, for tension that reflects the shifting geopolitics on the ground below. Built piece by piece since the late 1990s, the ISS stands as a monument to what is possible when global adversaries become partners. The United States, Russia, the nations of Europe, Japan, and Canada set aside long-standing competition and collaborated on a shared vision, a laboratory in the sky. Since November of the year 2000, astronauts have lived and worked on board without interruption. The station has become a 24-hour, 7-days-a-week research hub, a testbed for human endurance, and a living experiment in international cooperation. Over the last 25 years, more than 280 people from over 20 different countries have floated through the narrow corridors of the ISS. American and Russian crews form the backbone, but the list of participating nations is expanding rapidly. In a historic moment this year, the Axiom Mission 4 carried the very first astronauts from India, Poland, and Hungary to the International Space Station. The Indian astronaut, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, made headlines as only the second Indian ever to reach space. Poland's Sławomir Uznański-Wiśniewski and Hungary's Tibor Kapu joined him in carving new names into the annals of space history. Accompanying them was Peggy Whitson, America's most seasoned astronaut, with a career total of 675 days spent in orbit. This mission, which lasted nearly a week and conducted more than 60 scientific experiments, became a source of national pride and a global symbol of space's new inclusivity. And yet, even as the world celebrates these milestones, the struggle to secure a place on the ISS has never been fiercer. Demand from both countries and private entities is surging, turning every available seat into a high-stakes contest. Aspirations are running high worldwide. The United Kingdom, for example, intends to send its first-ever all-British astronaut team in the coming years, with only 3 citizens currently qualified for such a mission. Rosemary Coogan, the United Kingdom's 3rd astronaut, recently completed the grueling training required to join the elite ranks of spacefarers. Her underwater spacewalks in a 2-meter-deep pool are just one glimpse into the dedication required. But the ISS is much more than a symbol of cooperation. It is a scientific powerhouse. Within its modules, researchers have grown tomatoes in microgravity, a test with profound implications for food production on long-duration missions. The veggie plant growth system has enabled astronauts to cultivate fresh produce, nurturing not only plants, but the hope that future explorers could survive on Mars or the Moon. Scientists have used the alpha magnetic spectrometer to search for the elusive nature of dark matter, potentially unlocking the universe's greatest mysteries. The Materials International Space Station experiment tests new substances against the harshness of space, shaping the future of everything from satellites to surgical implants. The medical discoveries are equally groundbreaking. Prolonged time in microgravity has revealed how the human gut, immune system, and even the eyes adapt, or struggle, in space. Dr. Jonathan Clark, a leading expert in space medicine, warns, long-duration spaceflight poses risks to astronaut health we are only beginning to understand. Spaceflight-associated neuroocular syndrome, or SANS, is just one example. Astronauts' vision can change dramatically after months in orbit. There are subtle shifts in the gut microbiome, meaning that even the bacteria that keep us healthy on Earth behave differently in microgravity. Each of these findings not only informs the future of exploration, but also has direct consequences for medicine back home. Historically, many of the technologies and insights born on the ISS have trickled down into everyday life. Advanced water filtration systems, improved cancer therapies, and even more accurate weather forecasts owe their existence, in part, to discoveries made on the station. The retired ISS RapidScat instrument, for example, provided vital data on ocean winds, helping meteorologists predict storms and model our changing climate. NASA and its international partners have leveraged the ISS to study aging cells, grow fresh food, and develop new materials that could revolutionize industries from construction to aerospace. Yet for all its achievements, the ISS is showing its age. Some of its modules, like Russia's Zvezda, have developed persistent leaks, likely linked to decades of exposure to the stresses of space. Each technical glitch, from mysterious pressure drops to electrical malfunctions, is a reminder that the station was never intended to last forever. The cost of maintenance is enormous, and as each year passes, the debate over what comes next grows louder. Enter the private sector. Companies like Axiom Space and SpaceX are preparing to carry the torch into a new era. Axiom, for instance, has been contracted to build the first commercial module for the ISS, scheduled for launch as early as late next year. This module is designed to eventually detach and become a free-flying business hub, opening the door to orbital factories, hotels, and private research facilities. Elon Musk, the visionary behind SpaceX, argues, a rapid transition to commercial space stations will cut costs and supercharge innovation. This is where the real clash of visions takes shape. Should the ISS remain a government-run beacon of unity and pure science, or should private enterprise take the reins and transform low Earth orbit into the next Silicon Valley? Some experts, like Dr. Erica Wagner, believe that commercialization is the only way to ensure a sustainable space future. Commercialization is not just inevitable, it is necessary if we want sustainable exploration and true scientific leaps, she asserts. Others, however, warn that without strict oversight, the commercialization of space risks fragmenting one of humanity's last great shared ventures. As the ISS approaches a critical turning point, new countries and commercial players are jockeying for limited spots on missions and for influence over the rules that will govern space. What happens if the balance tips too far? If profit motives collide with scientific goals, or if national interests threaten the fragile peace that has kept the ISS aloft for over a quarter century? The next chapter will determine not only who gets to visit the space station, but also who sets the terms for all future journeys beyond our world. Imagine a future where not just a handful of nations, but dozens, or even every country on Earth, have access to space. Or a reality where private companies, not government agencies, build, own, and operate vast stations circling our globe. The stakes could not be higher, and the consequences extend far beyond national pride or corporate profits. Experts warn that without careful international rules, space could become a new Wild West, a place where the strongest or wealthiest dictate the terms. Dr. Jonathan Clark notes, long-duration missions are risky, but unchecked commercial expansion could multiply those risks, both for astronauts and for the fragile environment above our heads. The growing threat of space debris, for instance, is already a concern. Thousands of pieces of junk, from spent rocket stages to old satellites, speed through orbit at thousands of miles per hour, threatening both government and commercial missions alike. The possibility of resource extraction, whether from the moon's surface or distant asteroids, adds another layer of complexity. Who gets to mine lunar ice or asteroid metals? Without international agreements, disputes could escalate quickly. The United Nations Outer Space Treaty, signed more than 50 years ago, set the basic principles for space exploration, but many experts believe it is woefully outdated for the commercial era. New frameworks are urgently needed to ensure that access to space and its potential riches remain open to all. Yet the opportunities are equally transformative. The democratization of space could lead to an explosion of innovation, new industries, and unexpected discoveries. The first commercial modules, built by companies like Axiom Space, are expected to detach from the ISS by the end of the decade, marking humanity's initial steps toward a marketplace in low Earth orbit. These stations could host zero-gravity factories that manufacture pharmaceuticals impossible to produce on Earth, research labs conducting experiments in ultra-cold quantum gases, or even the world's first orbital hotel welcoming tourists to the ultimate getaway. Reusable rockets, pioneered by SpaceX, Blue Origin, and others, are already slashing the cost of access to orbit. The dream of affordable space travel is no longer science fiction. Ordinary citizens, scientists, teachers, artists, and perhaps even students may soon train for missions to commercial stations. The lessons learned in microgravity, such as how gut bacteria adapt or how new materials withstand cosmic radiation, could trigger revolutions in healthcare, agriculture, and technology. But the risks remain enormous. Without clear international cooperation, what happens when a commercial station suffers a catastrophic failure? Who is responsible for rescuing stranded crews or for cleaning up after an orbital collision? The aging ISS has already provided warnings, technical glitches, mysterious leaks, and the ever-present threat of space debris. If we fail to learn from these, the cost could be measured not just in dollars, but in lives and lost opportunities. There is also the challenge of maintaining scientific integrity. As commercial interests grow, will research for public benefit be sidelined in favor of projects with immediate profit potential? Dr. Erica Wagner insists that public-private partnerships, where governments set standards and companies bring innovation, offer the best hope for progress. She envisions a future where new alliances, blending public oversight with private energy, open doors for countries and communities that have stood on the sidelines for too long. Historical parallels abound. The dawn of the commercial aviation industry, for example, was marked by a similar blend of government vision and private enterprise. Today, millions fly safely across the globe, thanks to decades of hard-won cooperation and compromise. The future of space could unfold in much the same way, if we have the foresight to build robust institutions and flexible rules. For us, back on Earth, the lessons are profound. The ISS reminds us that global challenges, whether in space or on our own planet, demand global solutions. When nations collaborate, we all benefit. Breakthroughs in medicine, food production, and climate science have improved lives around the world. The solutions to global problems like climate change or resource scarcity may depend on the very spirit of cooperation that has kept the ISS aloft. There is a practical lesson as well. We must invest in education, research, and international dialogue if we want to shape the future of space for the better. As Elon Musk famously said, if we want to be a spacefaring species, we need both government vision and private drive. So, who will control the future of space? The answer is evolving. Governments and private enterprise are learning to share the stars. But perhaps the real hope lies in new, flexible alliances, where international organizations, businesses, and emerging space nations all have a seat at the table. The next chapter could be more open, more innovative, and more inclusive than anything before. Here's a little-known fact. Some of the most important research on the ISS is not about stars or rockets, but about us. By studying aging cells, cultivating fresh food, and testing new medicines in microgravity, scientists are quietly rewriting what is possible for human health on Earth. These experiments, from growing tomatoes to examining senescent cells, are helping us understand aging, disease, and nutrition in ways that could extend lives and improve well-being everywhere. So, as you gaze up at that glowing dot crossing the night sky, remember, the future of space is not just for astronauts and billionaires. It is our story as well. If you found this journey through the ISS and the next frontier of space exploration inspiring, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the greatest challenges and opportunities shaping our world. And tell us in the comments, if you could visit a space station, what experiment would you run?